Right, so we're going to talk about Messi's departure from Barcelona, and I'm just going to open up to the fans who listened and say that I very much feel how he feels because I had a departure from Auto FC at the end of last season, and I was definitely in tears. But I'm back. I don't think he'll be back for Barcelona, but yeah, strange one for Barcelona, don't you think?
You ask, it's gonna.
You go. Yeah, I've still got the great first question. So let's go.
Reconnect my Wi-Fi.
No, do you know what? Right, Dan. Well, you'll definitely have more of an understanding of this. After the Euros and because of the Olympics and stuff. To be honest, I'm really gonna have to work my way into this season, and understand what's going on. So, can you do your best efforts to explain how the fucking hell did Barcelona mess this up, or what's going on, and why is Messi leaving? Because clearly he doesn't want to leave based on his press conference.
Yeah. Okay. It's quite a long story, but I'll try and shorten the story.
Please try your best.
Effectively, La Liga decided to bring in their own financial fair play rules. When COVID hit, the international financial fair play was kind of relaxed a little bit. I mean, not that it did anything anyway. Look at City and PSG for the last 5 years, 10 years, but they were theoretically relaxed because obviously the rules are based on your income. There was no income because no one was coming. There were no fans. So they relaxed those rules. So all of a sudden, a lot of teams had a bit more leeway, and the rich teams like the Cities and the PSGs like, great, this is wonderful. La Liga decided because all of their clubs are about to go into administration because they got no money, they had to take things into their own hands. They couldn't allow clubs to continue spending recklessly. And so clubs have to spend a percentage of their income, of their revenue, not more. Certainly not more than 100%. I can't remember what the percentage is. Anyway, Barcelona currently, as it stood to the end of last season, before, by the way, they'd signed Aguero, Memphis Depay, and everyone else, were already at 110% of their revenue was their wage cost. So they already didn't qualify. So they were not allowed to play in La Liga, basically, if they didn't bring their wage cost down. Now, the problem they've got is Messi was out of contract, but this always happened because remember the story last year when Neely went to City. There was a problem with the new president at the time. The old president came back, so Messi was happy again. He was come back. They'd agreed the contract. It was all going to be fine. I think Barcelona and Real Madrid have always just thought, well, it's La Liga. They'll just let us off, right? We're Barca. We'll do what we want. We'll get away with it. Not this time. And so they've got to this point where they're not allowed to register Lionel Messi because he's not officially a player of theirs because he was a free agent.
And am I right in thinking that they already kind of made moves before this to try and accommodate Messi? Like, I can't remember what the specific details were in terms of getting rid of some of the players and then bringing some in. But didn't they already try to carve out space for Messi to still be at Barcelona?
Yeah, well, it sounds like Aguero was pretty much brought in for Messi.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what the confusion is? One confusion is Barca thought they had cleared with La Liga because essentially Messi got that 5-year deal.
Gentlemen's deal?
Well, he got a 5-year deal where Barca obviously weren't. It was actually a 2-year deal, and Barca was saying, well, what we'll do, we'll just sign it as a 5-year deal. So your wage, it looks like you're taking a 50% wage cut, but actually we've just made the thing longer. Like phone contracts these days, you think, oh, bargain, but actually it's a 36-month contract instead of a 24-month one. So Barca actually thought they had agreed that with La Liga to say, okay, essentially Messi is on the same wage, but we've made the contract 5 years. So we got 5 years to pay Messi instead of 2. And afterwards, La Liga said, no, you can't. So that's where the confusion is. And that's why Messi's had to leave because.
So he's decided to go from one farmers to the other. Like, it's just disappointing.
The thing about that is there's only one team that would probably pay the wages that he'd demand and want if he was to go somewhere else.
You checked in with China.
But
there's one of those.
The whole issue with the whole stupid thing about this, and there's a lot of talk of people saying, well, Messi would offer, even if he offered to play for free, he literally is not allowed to play for Barcelona. They cannot register him. By the way, they haven't registered Aguero. They haven't registered Memphis Depay. They haven't registered any of their new players yet because they have to remove people from their books. So the Coutinhos and the Griezmanns and the Dembeles, they all got to go because they've got to clear them off the books. So there's going to be a whole fire sale coming from Barcelona, which will be interesting. But the fact that Messi isn't able to renew his deal with Barcelona because of financial fair play rules from La Liga, when you've then got PSG, who have been breaking the rules for about 20 years and getting away with it because their president is French, basically. The president of the thing has been French for so many years. They've then gone and signed. Not only have they made like £130 million loss last year, PSG. Not only that, they've gone and signed Donnarumma, they've signed Ramos, they've signed Wijnaldum, they've signed Hakimi. Half those players were free and on massive, massive contracts. So, and I can tell you that they're going to be losing more than 130 million because this isn't including COVID numbers. And now they're going to go and give Messi however much he wants, millions of pounds a week. It's just nuts that he can't play for Barca and they can't have him because of some national rule, where the international rule doesn't say that he can't then go and play for PSG, who have Neymar and Mbappe and Di Maria and everyone else. It's mad. It's just gone crazy.
Still won't win the Champions League.
yeah. You get knocked out in the semis to Bayern.
Mark, I've just realised, Mark, have you switched allegiances or something? What you got a Man City background for?
Oh, is it Man City? I just downloaded like.
You're doing a Danny on us. Goodness me.
I downloaded one that was like Premier League is back, and then it had all like beIN Sports and all them, and I was like, oh, I just need to find one that's got nothing on it.
So you pick one with a Man City.
Don't say I don't prepare for this.
I'm annoyed you said that, Chris. I was going to wait till right at the end.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Your back four, is it? Yeah.
Who is it? City versus
City against Huddersfield.
Is it Huddersfield?
Yeah.
That must be the home end because look, no one's there.
You would know. I must admit, I mean, I didn't think Messi was ever going to come to the Premier League for all sorts of reasons, but it's a real shame because you're like the one opportunity that you can get. It'd be nice to have seen him actually play in the Prem and see him score 14 goals. Like,
you know
it's been actually great.
If the Kane thing wasn't happening, I'm pretty certain he'd be going to Man City right now.
You reckon?
Well, it sounds more like Grealish. Like Pep said they gave him, once Messi was off the table, they gave Grealish the number 10.
Should we talk about the winners and losers from transfers? And if you said Grealish, because that kind of leads into it. Should we go straight into that?
Yeah. What's the question?
So we're going to do the winners and losers of the transfers this season. It's not a question. I'm just going to go straight for my first winner, and that's Aston Villa. Actually, obviously Grealish has now gone, and I thought, I can't remember where I saw it, but I did think the Grealish thing being at Villa was a bit overblown, saying his legacy will last forever. I was like, I mean, he was a good player. I don't know if is he a Aston Villa legend, as this random person online said. I mean, he saved them from relegation one point, and he was their best player for a period of time. It's tough to say. It's not like, if he stayed there, maybe, I don't know. I just thought it was a bit overblown. Anyway,
he's done less for Villa than Ashley Young did.
Well, there you go. Look, part of that is that they're winners because they've sold Grealish, but they've clearly made a statement of intent trying to use those funds and build with players that are, pretty proven and not, I'm not saying they're well beaters, but they're high enough level to where they want to try and at least attempt at maintaining a high standard of football. I'm not saying that they're going to be great. I'm not saying that, they're going to be better or worse. I just think I like the fact that, especially like being an Arsenal fan, I like seeing the transfer of funds from one side to the other and actually think, all right, let's try and invest in some decent players to keep us sort of at least more than up and top half of the table. So that, I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, you say not better or worse. I'm just double checking where Villa actually finished last year, 11th. Because I think they're better now. They've lost Grealish, but as you say, I think Leon Bailey is a funny one for us because we watched him in Germany and you don't want to judge everyone on the 90 minutes you watched him live, but yeah, he wasn't the best when we watched him, but we went into that game knowing of him. So
Buendia's good. I mean, I know he was playing in the Championship last season, but I do quite like Buendia, and obviously Ashley Young's come back. Danny Ings is
a big one.
Danny Ings is massive. That's a massive signing for them.
Yeah,
if he can stay fit.
And it must be some kind of sign of intent, because is there much between Southampton and Villa? Like they're similar level teams, except Southampton lose 9-0 once a year. And but it shows Villa's obviously trying to move up if they're saying, okay, we'll take your best player, even though you're supposedly meant
Well,
to be
I think last season Villa played an overall better brand of football for the most part. I would say, in my opinion, I'm happy to
I
to
don't know if it was
disagree.
better. It was. I mean, I really like Ralph Hasenhüttl. I like the football he plays.
Yeah.
The reason they will lose 9-0 sometimes is because they are all like gung ho, up and at 'em, high press, very Pochettino-esque. And so every now and again they will get unstuck by quality, and the team has just having an amazing day, and they'll get battered. But they'll also have great games, and they'll give most teams a game, and they'll be really entertaining to watch. So I think Southampton fans will tell you they've enjoyed Hasenhüttl's football on the whole. I think Dean Smith. The thing with Villa is you've got Dean Smith, you've got a Villa fan as the manager, you've got a Villa fan that owns it. You had Grealish, who was the Villa boy, run like they've come out of a good. They had a really crappy time, and they've come out of a good period after winning after that playoff final in the Championship. Just literally last day of the season, surviving, and then they had a really good season last year. I don't think 11th really tells the true story. We all know they had a brilliant season last season. It was just they tailed off at the end. And which is why, and
it was really tight in the middle there.
Yeah,
like there weren't many points.
I mean, anywhere from Arsenal down, anyone can get relegated. So it's tight at that point. I think the problem I find with these kind of situations with transfers is I always look back at the Bale situation with Spurs. Now Spurs did this when they knew they were selling Bale for 100 million. They waited till the last day of the season to sell him, but they went and signed 8 players. One of them was Christian Eriksen, but the others were a bunch of crap. They were Cabal and Paulinho and God knows who other players who have just gone on to nothing. And I think there was a thing at the time going, well, at least they've spent the money well and they've like strengthened the squad and they've got all these new players. But I think they really struggled to bring them all together and they lost their talisman. You can't underestimate how important Jack Grealish is to this Villa side.
I would agree with you, except if it wasn't Danny Ings, I'd probably agree with you because usually it's like, a player that's probably scored loads of goals in a South American league or, in a different league. We know Danny Ings is good. We know he's a proven goal scorer in this league.
The problem with Danny Ings, though, is Danny Ings is a 30-goal-a-season striker when he plays 38 games. He never plays 38 games. You're lucky to get 15 to 20 games out of him. And so, he's class. He's one of the best strikers in the league when he's fit and on his day.
What do you do with him and Watkins in the same position?
Well, Watkins will probably, is why he's out of my fantasy team now. He'll probably get pushed back out on the left where he used to play for Brentford and in the early days. So he'll play a bit wider probably, and they'll accommodate, or they'll play 2 up top.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to if Tuanzebe on loan gets a chance to play. This is where it can make or break for me because I'm like, obviously, I really, really like him, even though I've only seen him like 4.5 times. And
he turns 30 this year, so he's got to do it. He's got to break through eventually.
He's really good for Villa in the Championship. I do wonder if that's his level.
Yeah, there you go. Danny, you got any winners?
Yeah, I have got a few winners. I mean, my obvious winner is Man United at the moment. I think the two.
I knew you was going to say that.
Well, because the 2 signings, before the season ended, you just tell me 2 positions and 2 signings we wanted, and because I was fucking saying this 18 months ago when I thought Sancho was going to get signed then. Sancho and Varane are the 2 signings we needed. The 2 absolute, and they're the exact signings. If I was playing FIFA, I was playing Footy Manager, and I took the Man United team, the first 2 signings I would make is Varane and Sancho.
Is Varane official? Sorry, because on Sky Sports transfer deals, they've only got 2 players that are in. And when you said 2 players, I thought you really wanted a backup goalkeeper in Tom Heaton.
No. They haven't got his work permit through yet. That's why it's not registered. But yeah, it's done.
Be careful.
He's held the shirt up. It's already done. But that my point is that's the first time in a long time I've looked at a club and gone, that's exactly what I would do. Now, that could be a really bad thing because
I would say so.
I'm not a football manager, but it is all the fans were calling for it. We needed someone on the right that was dedicated. Right for all of our strikers like to shift out left. We needed someone that was on the right, a creative player. We needed someone to set a centre back to support Maguire because Lindelof was fine, but he wasn't world class. And we probably still need one more in the middle, like as a backup to Matic or Fred or someone slightly better as a proper holding midfielder. But outside of that, you look at Man United's first 11, and I think they can win the league. I really do.
Mark, I want to check if you're somewhere with me because I'm running into a bit of a mental roadblock here where I'm not sure if I'm convinced enough by Jadon Sancho. I've only really seen him play for England. And when I've seen that, it's not been this guy that I've heard about, this mythical being from Borussia Dortmund. So
what? I'm a bit of both because I'm similar to you. Where I was like, do you know what? When I've seen him, he's not the 10 out of 10 player. But what I need to remind myself and when we had on our WhatsApp chat and you talked about the new Arsenal number 10 Smith Rowe, and I'm like, him and Sancho are the same age. They're like 2 months apart in age. And I need to, sometimes I think we forget how young Sancho really is. Like,
I don't.
Because like when we talk about it, we're like, okay.
Danny definitely doesn't.
Like, because I think it was the same conversation, but when we said, Sancho's not convincing, and Smith Rowe's number 10 potential future for Arsenal, and it's like, well, they are the same age, and one is like already miles ahead on CV, and it's like sometimes with Sancho, I'm like, he hasn't fully convinced me, and then I'm like, bloody hell, he's so young. I'm like, there's so much potential there.
He's 21, as Mark says, and he's scored in 180 games, by the way. He's 21, he played 180 games. He scored 74 goals and got 75 assists. Last season, for Dortmund, he got 50 goals, 64 assists in 130 appearances. This is a winger. This is a 20, and he's just turned 21. Like, this guy, his stats are outstanding.
Yeah, but you know what it's like. You know what it's like being an Englishman watching the Premier League. Like, we joke about it. Every other league's farmers. Like, you know, I need to see it happen. I need to see it happen in the Premier League for the biggest clubs there before I can actually say, all right, this is some quality here, because we know that leagues play differently. That's all. So, look, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just not. You were like, I'm getting his name on the back of my shirt.
Really?
Like, build the statue. Let's get going. And I'm like, hold on, hold your brakes. I actually still think you need a centre forward, but, you know, let's see.
See, I think he fills the gap. I think we struggle on the right, and that's why I like it.
Sure.
Him and Varane have improved for me. The two, the two areas. Yeah. The two areas we needed improving, like the defensive mid, the McFred. I was like, they're not title winning, but at the moment now, if we've got everyone else is title winning, and we've got two positions which are defensive mids, not title winning, I think that's.
You not think you need a centre forward?
We got Cavani. He'll do for another season for sure. He could win the league.
Well, I thought Cavani was only going to be like a part-time player. If you got Cavani that's playing every game over like Rashford or whatever, then I'm happy with that.
Well, it's between Cavani and Martial, isn't it? Like,
and Greenwood. Greenwood is a number 9 ultimately.
So that's it. I think with Sancho, like I'm just, for me, Rashford has to play off the left. Like, I don't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and
although he's injured now, isn't he? So
he's out for 3 months, but Martial's back. Well, they're talking of maybe selling Martial at the moment this week. I don't think they will, but
Mark, have you got any winners?
Well, it's only going through now, but I do really see the Lukaku. Well, obviously City, if they get Kane, they're going to be the winners, because that's ridiculous. Kane and Grealish, like that. But it looks like Lukaku's officially done now. It's not, and I'm like, that for me, if that puts Chelsea right up there for league winners. Like, Lukaku is not. He you know what he gives you? He gives you goals, and when you look at Chelsea, you're like, what gives a team's chances is the fact that they're going to miss chances. And you're like, well, now they've got a guy who's not quite as easy on the eye, but he gets goals. So
well, the way I would describe Lukaku and Werner is that Lukaku misses less. You know.
Yeah, but I do like. For me, Lukaku signing for Chelsea puts them right up in title contention. I think if Kane goes to City in the next week, then it's a runaway league again. But for now, I'm Chelsea are sort of sitting in my winners with Lukaku.
So the only reason I didn't pick Chelsea is because they haven't yet done the deal for Jules Koundé. And I think if they get Koundé with Lukaku as well, so they get a world-class centre back and Lukaku in, that's a ridiculous team. I mean, we know what Kante is, a cheat code. Like, it's like having extra players on the pitch. So when you've got all of that, and you've got people like Ziyech and Havertz and like Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi has been brilliant in pre-season. Who's got to have a breakout season at some point. He's only about 19 as well. I mean,
it takes
the world
the
of talent
pressure
there
off
is
them,
scary.
isn't it?
I think Kai Havertz is going to have a good season for some
Yeah,
strange
I
reason.
think so.
Yeah.
I think he's had that period to settle in, and I don't know. He just seems prime and ready to be the player that he's supposed to be.
I think Lukaku takes the pressure off him. That's one reason I think it works, because like I look at Pulisic, I look at Havertz. You're like, they're not goal scorers. Like, they'll get goals, but if you don't want to rely on them week in, week out for goals.
Well, I think even just the fact that they won the Champions League, and he probably, coming into it was thinking, I've got to produce here. I'm like their biggest signing pretty much.
Yeah.
So much weight on my shoulders. And he realised, actually, I'm on a really good team with some fucking good players. It's not all on me. And then you can win the Champions League. It's like, well, you haven't really got to prove anything because you kind of got that trophy sort of there and ready to go. Obviously, the Premier League's a whole different thing, but I don't know. He's just a good player. He's shown some good spells. In the Euros, and then I know it's pre-season. Did you see that one goal?
The only flicker of hope I'm getting about Chelsea not running away with everything is that
no one runs away. First of all, no one's going to run away.
City and Liverpool have done in the last two years, but anyway, the one thing that Thomas Tuchel struggled with at PSG was he had too many superstars in one team. He struggled to get them all, like good morale, playing together, being okay on the bench. You're talking about Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Havertz, now Lukaku added to that. You've got 6 or 7 basically attackers. The way he plays football, normally with one up top and 2 wingers, or if he's playing a back 5, not even 2 wingers. 6 or 5 doesn't go into 2 or 3 very well. So there's going to be some players that are not going to be particularly happy because it's not like most of them are that young. Like a lot of them are now like, right, I'm in my prime, I'm here, I want to play. They were all bought for big money. The only thing is maybe that can cause some friction and some problem. But I worry. I think Lukaku is such a better player today than he was 4 or 5 years ago. It's scary how good he is now.
I've got one other winner, and it says if we're just doing it right now, as we're recording it on a Monday night on the 9th of August, Spurs is a winner because they haven't got rid of Kane yet. Maybe once he moves, I'll probably put them as losers because they've not really done much else. But
you say they haven't done much else. What Spurs have done is they've gone and signed one of the most highly rated defenders in the whole of Serie A, in Christian Romero, and that's the reason they spent 45 million on this kid. And then they've gone and signed Bruyne Gill. We're all going to call him Gill because we're English. And I don't know if you've seen him play football, but he is so exciting to watch. He is a brilliant talent. He was in the Olympics for Spain. He was in their squad.
Yeah, I saw him miss a sitter in the final.
No, he smashed the bar from 30 yards in the last minute. You watched that? I think those two are class signings. I still don't think Spurs will make top 4. We'll get onto that. But I think those two are good signings. They probably need more, but they're good signings. Yeah,
but I think I would just say like, it's not going to be a direct replacement for a player of that caliber. You will never be able to replace a Harry Kane. No, so it's always going to be losing a player like that. You're always going to be a loser. It's just the way it goes, isn't it?
But if we include managers in it, I do really like Nuno. And for some reason, Tottenham, the only thing that puts me off a bit is Tottenham seem reluctant to get him. They seem to get him after everyone else said no, which doesn't feel like a manager with a huge load of confidence. But
I mean, how much Matt Doherty feel in the Maya? Wasn't playing football at all, and then his former prodigy turns up. God, thank God, it's my new manager. Matt Doherty's going to get straight in the fantasy football team, surely.
Have you guys got any more team winners, or should we go to losers?
I've got one that's on the fence. It could be a winner and a loser, and I really don't know what to make of them. It's Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't know what you guys think of Crystal Palace, but
I for some strange reason, you know me, I don't really do anything based on logic. For some reason, I just don't. I was so close to putting them in my teams to be relegated for some reason.
Well, yeah, we'll see. They're either in my top 4 or in my bottom 3. You'll
find out.
Similar. Well, the thing, I mean, I will talk about Palace, but just on the transfers, the thing I like that they've done, we all know that Palace had an aging squad. They had a bunch of players that were coming to the end of their contracts. They let them all go. They've cleared hundreds of millions off their wage bill and suddenly had a bunch of money. And they have gone and spent some money, to be fair to them. But they've gone from
some guy from Georgetown University. I mean,
they've gone from having 35-year-olds, like the oldest squad in the league, to having one of the youngest. And the problem I've got is you've also taken on Patrick Vieira, who let's be honest, he's a fantastic player, but he's hardly blown things up as a manager. What he did and elsewhere, it's just not been great, and he's not that experienced.
You shouldn't.
I need to change. After you've said that, I need to change my back three there. That's.
But if you take out all your experience from the dressing room, the Tim Cahills, the Andros Townsend, the Patrick Van Aanholt, those people who've been at the club for 10 years that know it, you take them all out the changing room, you throw in a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-old new signings and Patrick Vieira, and I think
this sounds like a loser. You've not even said anything positive about it.
Well, the positive is that the players they have signed, the young players, are young English, like the top under-21 English internationals we've got, the likes of Conor Gallagher, and they've got people like Nathan Ferguson and Mitchell and coming through their academy, and they've got some amazing young players, like the Gehi from Swansea was on loan from Chelsea. They've got some brilliant young players. Elise was like the most exciting player in the Championship last year. They're great young players, but I don't know that you can.
But part of it is because our England team is basically an under-21 team. Our England team's so young, so the under-21 team isn't as of higher standard as it used to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and they may be great. They may be great. I don't think they're there yet. So they've signed players who could have great sell value, could be great players, but I think they're going to.
I worry for Vieira because I feel like when you watch any football on TV and you listen to pundits, managers always sound a little bit more informed. Like, do you remember when Jose got sacked from United and then he sort of built his fan base back up by being a pundit? And when you watch managers as a pundit, you're like, okay, they had some kind of insight.
Yeah.
Vieira I've never heard any insight when he's been a pundit. And I know that's all I can go on really, but I'm like, well, he's managed in America. I'm not going to claim to have seen any of that, but
well, he managed Nice, but
is that why Graham Souness sounds like he doesn't know a fucking thing?
Ex-managers are different because they're stuck sometimes they're stuck in their ways a little bit, but like when they're current managers, like they do add insight. Like Sky Sports had Chris Wilder on recently, just doing an interview, but I remember he was a pundit on one of the games and he sounded like, okay, you can see they look at the game differently.
Yeah.
But Vieira, like at half time, I do wonder if he's even watched the first half. He's like,
yeah. So I do worry for them. I think they've brought some great talent, but they've kind of done what you would sometimes do on Footy Manager, which is you go and buy a bunch of like the young up and comers that you know are going to be wonder kids,
the quick looking players,
and then you can sell them on for loads of money in a few years' time. But you just got to do enough to stay in the league in the meantime.
All right, let's rattle through the losers. I've got Arsenal as a loser from the transfer window. They've not been able to re-sign any of their loan players, which were key for us, since Ceballos and Odegaard. And I'm not 100% convinced by Ben White, especially £50 million. Obviously, a lot of chat about him. I'm just not so sure. And obviously, I'm just down on Arsenal this year, last year, probably next year. So.
Until Arteta goes.
They've got another left back. I mean, is that to cover Tierney when he's always injured or something? I don't understand what the freak's going on with this nonsense. And I mean, we need another midfielder. We've kept Xhaka. I mean, for goodness sake, yeah.
Well, it looks like you're in for Tammy Abraham, unless Jose Mourinho gets his way and he goes to Roma. But
I mean, Arsenal are in for a lot. The Maddison's still not going away.
Yeah,
Bernardo Silva came out today as.
Yeah, but we never get those. You know, when you hear Arsenal in rumours with players, it never happens. Like it just doesn't happen ever. When's the last time it happened? When it was a decent player and they're like, oh, Arsenal's rumours versus X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden they go somewhere else.
Oh, I mean, Thomas Partey was rumoured for 2.5 years, so you eventually got him.
Finally,
it's a weird one for Arsenal because I've just got this feeling that Ben White will be good. Like,
he will be great. Of course he will.
Centre back was one of the positions Arsenal need to improve. But there's so many. I look at the Arsenal team and I'm like,
it's not great.
Aubameyang weren't like the best last year, but there's obviously a player in there. Could he roll it back? Lacazette, there's a player in there, but he's not been good for a while. It's so much like
Pepe. Is he going to be the player that he's supposed to?
Yeah.
He had moments at the back end of last season. Yeah.
Imagine Saka gets better though.
Saka.
Imagine he keeps getting better.
Hopefully the Euros haven't ruined him.
Before you have Ronaldo in your hands.
Yeah, if him and Emil Smith Rowe get better, we might be all right. But losers for me. Anyone else got a loser?
Yeah, just on the Ben White thing though, I don't think you need to be as down. Like, don't forget you've lost David Luiz, who I know was a calamity in everything he did. But what David Luiz did really well for Arsenal is what Arteta wanted, which is play out the back, and he was very good at doing that. Ben White is the ultimate guy.
That's questionable. That's questionable.
There's a reason that 2 years ago, when Leeds got promoted, they offered 35 million for Ben White 2 years ago, and Brighton said no because Leeds were. We need a ball-playing centre back who is world class. He's going to be brilliant. Like, yes, he's got to prove himself, Ben White, but I think he's going to be a great signing for us.
Well, I hope from your mouth to God's ears, please be a shining light on what's going to be a dreadful season. Give me a loser, so I don't feel so bad.
Burnley. Just every time I get to the transfer window, I look at Burnley. I'm like, oh, what have they done? Signed a goalkeeper. Oh, okay. Just every time you look, what have Burnley done this summer? Oh, they've got no money, haven't they? Yeah. How have they got no money? They've been in the Premier League like 8 years now. If they've got no money, someone's got to look into their owners because
maybe
how
maybe.
We've had record breaking Premier League deals. They've been in it pretty much for the whole boom now of Sky Sports, BT Sports, and Amazon Prime paying above like market value. So yeah, it's just Burnley. I didn't even follow it.
Maybe no one wants to go there. Maybe that's the problem. They try and sign players and no one wants to go there.
There is probably an image thing because like we do say, oh, he looks like a Burnley player. Like, and you normally think like
a non-quick player.
Yeah, like a slow 6'1", like tall white guy.
Hardworking.
Yeah.
Chris Wood, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be centre back or centre forward. That's basically what they're looking for.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah. Burnley's a weird one. I mean, we're not going to go into that like whole thing about him, but I guess they're just like, we'll keep it the same until we get relegated, and then we'll figure out afterwards. But let's try and get as much money as we can, isn't it? It's like they're sitting at a poker table and they're happy just to pick up the blinds every time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they bust out a big hand, they're like, all right, I'm just taking my winnings now. But, yeah.
My worst is Merseyside, both Liverpool and Everton. I'm gonna go with Everton because Liverpool have basically done no business. They've got Van Dijk back, which is like a big signing, and I do like Konate. I think Konate is a brilliant centre back. I think he's the better one of him and Upamecano went to Bayern Munich for 60 million. It should have been Konate, but he was injured for 2 seasons. He is the better version, so I think he's a great signing. But outside of that, what have they done? Not a lot. Signed some more of their 30-plus-year-olds to long contracts. I'm surprised I haven't seen more from Liverpool. But I was looking at Everton, and I'm like, I looked at some of their preseason results. I don't know if you saw they got battered by Man United a few days ago. And I was looking at that team, and I'm like, you look at what Everton have done this. Not only have they brought in Benitez, who's already hated by the fans. So you've brought in a manager who no one wanted, who's going to have an absolute nightmare the minute he starts losing because the fans will be on him like crazy. And the fans are back now as well. They've got no backup forwards. So they've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, basically it. Richarlison, who's played like 70-something games this season now because he's just finished the Olympics of Brazil, who doesn't really produce that much anyway. They've now lost Sigurdsson.
Missed the penalty, didn't he, in the final?
Yeah. They've lost Sigurdsson, which, that aside. And they've gone and signed Andros Townsend and Damari.
Oh, sorry. When you said they lost Sigurdsson, I'm looking at the Sky Sports out and I'm like, where's he?
They've lost So they've lost their number 10. They've got no backup striker, and they've signed Andros Townsend.
Did you say they lost him because he's 10?
Tamari Gray and Asmir Begovic. And I'm sorry, but when you're Everton, and you look at the top 8 to 10 teams in the Premier League, and you look at the Everton lineup, and you look at their lineup, I just don't see how Everton even finished top 10 with that team. Like, what are they doing?
Did you know, fun fact about Everton, did you know that they had Yannick Bolasie in their squad last season?
I did not know that. I did wonder where he'd go. I just recently watched the Crystal Palace documentary, which he's in, which is really good.
I'm just looking in, it says contract expired. I was like, wasn't he in China or somewhere? What the hell happened to him?
He must have been on loan.
He was he was in the Championship.
What was he?
He was in the Championship last year.
Was he?
Not feeling too good about Everton. I know what you mean. When you get Andros Townsend, probably going to be your biggest sign of the season. Yeah. That's not a great start.
He's going to be starting. Like he's in the team.
Yeah.
How is that a team that's going to compete even for the top 8? I think you look at their squad and you look at someone like Leeds, you look at someone like Aston Villa, and that's what Everton's level is now. And they've fallen so far, so quickly from one bad window that I'm really shocked that Benitez hasn't done more. Maybe he will, but at the moment I don't know what they're playing at.
Mark, you got any losers? Well, I can go.
Well, yeah, you go.
I got Watford, and probably this probably rings with you a little bit, Mark. But I've just looked at their list of players that they've signed in, and it's similar to what Fulham did a couple of seasons ago, where they had a team that brought them up. Was it Fulham? I remember where they brought them up.
Fulham.
Just got all these brand new players and expect them to kind of stay up and do something. And just basically just on history, that generally is not going to work. So I've just put them in there for that. Troy Deeney's not going to, galvanise them to kind of stay up. I don't think it's really going to work for them. So
yeah, I can't argue with that.
Josh King.
They got Josh King, you say?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at there.
Yeah, they signed Josh King. The thing for Watford is they've got one person that will score. Like Troy Deeney can score, but he's 45 or whatever he is now. But they've got Ismail Assar, who is a quality player, who is worth some money. He's basically their only asset, I think, that they've got that's actually worth some good money. And he scored all their goals last season. I think he got about 15 goals in the Championship. I just don't see that happening again. I agree. I don't see. Maybe we'll be proven wrong. I don't know a lot of their squad anymore. But
wasn't their defensive record quite good last season? I think that's kind of what they might try and hang their hat on. But
yeah, but how many? Every team that comes up to the Prem has a good defensive record the season before because
they were the best team in the other one. Yeah,
6 games.
Yeah. Are you excited to see Brentford though?
I am, because the last 2 years I've liked them in the Championship. They lost to Fulham in the Championship final. Playoff final a couple of years ago, and I just knew Fulham were going to come up and bounce back, like go straight back down. I think Brentford they'll give the league a go. I think I think they might stay up. So
I like Brentford a lot because Brentford and Brighton are two clubs who for years now have sworn on data. They're the kind of clubs who like XG, not like you, Chris.
I know, this is all you, Dan.
Yeah, this is the kind of club. They're run by gamblers who've made all their money gambling. They run data companies. Like, these are people. The reason Brentford's production line is what it is because they go and find nobodies based on some stat. They moneyball everything. Like, Brentford have literally moneyballed their way to the Premier League, and I love that about them. And they've done it in a good way, in a way that is worked for them. They're a well-run club, and they just keep producing amazing talent. And in Tony, that striker, I don't think he's ever not scored 20 goals a season since he started playing football. So if he can score in the Premier League, they'll do well.
We'll get there in a little bit. We'll do our big bold predictions next, but you won't like my my bottom three to get relegated then. So should we do one each or rattle off our three?
Let's do our three. Are we going to write them down? We need to write them down this time.
Yeah, I mean, I've got mine written down, so it's up to you.
We'll send them afterwards. All right.
I'll start then. My first one is Liverpool won't make the top 4. You kind of referenced it earlier on, Dan, and I think it is. There's a few things that I'm considering with this one. Is that I do think that with Man United's gotten better. For some strange reason, I think Leicester City's going to have a really good season. Chelsea, especially with Lukaku's gotten better. They've not made any moves. They had a few players that were in the Euros. I always it's what like Alex Ferguson used to think when it comes to being a big team, is that every season you kind of need to have a big marquee signing. If anything, it kind of brings that enthusiasm into it. And without that, I mean, if Virgil van Dijk's going to be that version, and maybe I'll be totally wrong, there's just something about it where I'm like, they could very well be at risk of not making top 4. They won't drop much lower than that if they don't. So that's my first bold prediction.
There is talk of Renato Sanchez. I think that's going to be the big 40-50 million pound signing, which, I mean, I thought we would make
is it? Yeah, is it that good, Renato Sanchez?
Is he going to win you the league? I don't know. He's class, but I don't think
he's a slightly better version of Shaqiri. I mean, come on.
He is a better version of Shaqiri,
yeah. Yeah. Am I going number 2 now?
Yeah, go on then.
But maybe not the boldest of predictions, but Bruno wins Player of the Season. Probably both books.
Okay, interesting.
Just because I don't know what De Bruyne is going to win it 2 times in a row. Diaz, it was nice that he won it, but how many times the centre back's going to win it back to back? If Liverpool aren't going to be as good as they are, is it going to be a Salah or Mane? Not sure. Virgil van Dijk, don't know. I can't really envision anyone else. But maybe Kai Havertz, but he'll have a good season. He won't be that good. So I'm just going to go for Bruno. Process of elimination. And my last one is, and I think this is a pretty bold prediction. So we'll see how it goes. One Premier League game this season is going to get cancelled due to racism.
Oh, interesting. Cancelled
seems to be the hot subject right now. And they put out. I saw in the news the other day that players are going to continue to take the knee. Whatever your thoughts are on taking a knee, I'm not saying it's a positive or negative. One of the points I had last season that the reason it went on so long was because fans weren't in the stadiums. And you saw when fans started going to the stadiums, it was received very poorly. Because of that, it's just going to be, some more mixing between fans and just too polarizing, where the extreme ends are just going to put the Premier League or teams in a position where they'll say something, do something. Players are going to walk off because they're more empowered these days. And that is my bold prediction. So we'll see.
Interesting. Could happen.
God, Mark, you go with your pen and paper.
I've got to have it written down. Okay, well,
some use a computer.
My first one is, I think Juventus are going to win the Champions League. Basing that on just two things, Ronaldo and Chiesa. Chiesa was the player I left the Euros most impressed with. And I think this will hopefully, I'm not that bothered, but for my bold prediction, hopefully that it's the season he really breaks through. And so I've got Juve to win Champions League. I've scribbled it out, the other one, but because I didn't think it was bold enough, but I didn't think of one in time. But because it's not really. I was going to say Mourinho to get sacked, which before, but to make it bold, right? Mourinho will be sacked before Christmas. I'd sprinkle the boldness in it.
I'm writing these down.
Yeah. My third one, this is bold, but
that's the whole point.
I think Messi stays at Barca. And
we'll know. Interesting.
He's not, but okay.
He's not now. I've got this weird. Well, I think Messi will be back at Barca within 12 months.
So I don't.
I think they might sign him in January.
So wait. Stay at Barca or go back to Barca. That's a big difference.
I think Barca will officially sign him in January.
Messi goes back to Barcelona.
I was thinking this the other day, actually, when I was watching him crying his eyes out at the press conference. And I was thinking, it's just such a mess that the moment Barca want him back and can get him back, surely he'll go back. But the problem is going to be PSG. And will they let that happen? I wonder if there's going to be some sort of agreement where they'll say, we'll give him to you for a bit cheaper, but we want him back next year. Or I think that's a good shout. I was thinking the similar, that I could see him back. Whatever it is, he'll be back at Barca before he retires.
Do you remember they signed, what was the winger from Atletico? And they signed him, but Barcelona signed him.
Griezmann?
No, the winger, Adam, was it Thuram? No.
Arda Thuram?
Yeah, and they were on the. They had a ban, so they signed him in May.
Yeah, and
they technically couldn't. No, he couldn't play till January, so he sat out the first half of the season. So it wouldn't be the first time a Barcelona player's not played the first half of the season, just waiting. So I have a feeling.
Chelsea last year.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I don't know why I just can't. It might just be I can't picture Messi anywhere else. So
sometimes we get feelings, we can just go with them.
I was just looking. I was like, I can't see him at PSG. And to be honest, outside of PSG, no other club seemed to be able to. So
go on, Danny boy. Big predictions.
Yeah. So my big prediction is not going to come as massive surprise given what we talked about with Everton. I think Benitez will be fired before the end of the season.
You love a manager being fired. You always call it.
all the time. You said nothing to Mark when he said Mourinho was getting sacked by Christmas, but
because he doesn't do it every season. Every season you call it at least one. Doesn't he do that, Mark? Every season he calls a man.
I'm right. What did I call last year? Lampard. I was
Frank
right.
Lampard.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you just love that as a prediction. It's fine. It's cool because we know managers are going to get fired. It's just picking who you should start betting on this stuff.
I really should actually.
The
I think
odds aren't good enough.
The problem is the odds are never good enough.
You'll go and it'll be like 5-6, isn't it? It's like they've called it 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second prediction: Vieira to be fired.
Actually, my second prediction is I couldn't. So you know when you score the most goals, you get the golden boot. What do you get for the most assists?
The golden
shoe.
No, oh gosh, what is it? It's a golden. Oh my days, what is it?
Golden something. Kane had it. Yeah, that's
golden sock.
Golden sock.
No,
I don't know what it is.
It's a golden ball, isn't it?
I don't know, but whatever
Most
it is, whoever wins the top assist is going to Sancho this year. Man United's Player of the Year.
Oh, shut up! Honestly.
That's my prediction. He's Player of the Year and he'll get top assists in the Premier League this year.
But is that one prediction? Player of the Year and most assists?
Yeah, he'll be Man United's Player of the Year and get most assists in the Premier League.
Oh, Man United's Player of the Year. All right, sorry, I thought you were talking about.
No, he's not. He's not getting. He might not get the whole player. He might. He'll get Young Player of the Year probably. And then my final prediction is Lukaku to win the Golden Boot.
God, you've got timid to Golden Boot. All right. What the hell is it called, man? I'm going to be like randomly in the middle of the night and just be like, yeah, it's the golden this, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, what? I need to Google it. Anyway, that's my 3.
There you go. So just to recap, mine is Liverpool won't make top 4, which I think is pretty solid. Like pretty solid in terms of a bold prediction, not saying it's going to happen. Bruno win Player of the League, Player of the Season, whatever you want to call it. And then 1 game to get cancelled due to racism. Mark's got Juve to win Champions League. Mourinho to get sacked before Christmas. Messi goes back to Barca. Name of a movie. And Danny has got Benitez gone before Christmas. Sancho to get most assists in the league and win Man United's Player of the Year. And Lukaku to get Golden Boot. Right. I think I went boldest there. So there you go.
Kind of. I'd say some of mine are pretty bold.
Don't know.
I think, Danny, if you went Premier League manager to get sacked, you've probably gone favourite. If you went Premier League top goal scorer, you've probably gone favourite. And if you're Premier League top assist, you've probably gone in the top few favourites.
They're not going to stop me gloating when I get it all right at the end of the season.
No, it's true.
Right, let's go quick now. We're running out of time. Top 4 teams in the Premier League this season, and then the 3 teams to get relegated. Mark, you go first here.
All right. My top 4.
Which is, can I just say, generally the top 4 we usually get pretty similar. Maybe there might be fluctuations in order. It's the relegation ones which mix up. So let's get through this one somewhat quickly, unless there's anything too out there.
I just want to change it if Kane signs for City, but at the minute I've got Chelsea first, City second, United third, Liverpool fourth, and I think City win it if they get Kane. My bottom, I've got Palace bottom, I've got Watford second from bottom, and third from bottom, I've got Wolverhampton.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got you. I was close there.
I don't know. They've got Jimenez back. They've got Trincao. You wait. You watch him.
Yeah. So
I reckon we're going to really see the impact of how good Nuno was for them.
I rate Nuno highly. Also, you can't be 100% sure what Jimenez comes back. That was it'd be interesting to see if he fully comes back the way
he's done all right in pre-season. He's been scoring goals again in most games he's played. So we'll see. But if he comes back the player he was, then they'll be fine, obviously.
Dan, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I've got the same 4 as Mark, just in top 4, just in a different order. I've got Man United to win the league, Chelsea second, Man City third, and just Liverpool fourth. But it was really close between Liverpool and Leicester, to be honest. And the only reason I discounted Spurs is because I think Kane is going to go. If Kane stays, then they've got a chance of top 4, I think. But yeah, Man United, Chelsea, City, and Liverpool. Relegated, I also have Palace bottom, Watford second bottom, and I've gone for Norwich third bottom. It was close, and I actually think Southampton are going to struggle because you lose Danny Ings and don't replace him. I think they're buying Adam Blackburn, whatever his name is, Adam something from Blackburn. I saw today. But I mean, you don't replace Danny Ings, so they're going to struggle to score goals this year, Southampton. But I think they'll just survive. They'll have enough.
I like you said about Southampton's manager. I think he's pretty good. So, maybe they won't score as many as they should without Danny Ings. But I think Shea Adams not too bad.
Yeah, but he's all right. But he's not going to get you 20, 25 goals a season, I don't think.
Maybe he needs to get about 12 to 15 goals and they'll be fine.
Okay.
I've gone... I'll go with it because I've written it down. I've gone Man City to win the league. I've gone based on the fact that they're going to get Kane. Manchester United to be second. I've gone Chelsea third, although you guys have really convinced me this pod that may be too low for them. It's just hard to know based on the teams I've just said. And my bold prediction was Liverpool not to make the top four, and I put Leicester in there, Leicester City. So yeah, I don't know. I think Leicester are good. They're just a good side, and I just don't think Liverpool are going to be as good.
Out of interest, who finishes higher if Kane goes, Spurs or Arsenal?
I'm really down on Arsenal more than I am with last season. And it's actually it's weird because I think to know that we would have to go through every single team after the top four to see who actually becomes like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th to 10th kind of range. Because how good are these teams going to be? Because I was looking at the entirety of the league and it's like, it could be anywhere. I mean, I've got Brighton to be relegated. They could very well be 11th. Like, I just don't know. It's so strange. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, the Kane transfer is just such a big one. Like, I've put City second. And to be honest, how does
Son do without Kane?
He does well, brilliantly, because that's when he plays his best football when Kane's out.
But yeah, it's hard to do that for a whole season. It was a bit like when Suarez was out, and do you remember Daniel Sturridge scored in every game? Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, will Son score some goals when it's like they're down or 2-0 or 3-0, 3-1? He'll get his goals. He's a great player, but it's Kane, as much as we may say he's not been as good the last 2 seasons, he does kind of tie things together a little bit. Who's replacing him in that position? Lucas Moura or any
team that loses Kane is obviously in trouble.
Yeah, it's a big impact. And then they've not really done anything for centre back, but let's not get into that. My relegation is I've got Watford bottom. I'm going to go for Brentford to be second bottom. I don't believe in analytics. And Brighton to get relegated, as I said. I think with the relegation stuff, as we've kind of gone through the last few seasons, it could be anywhere. It's so hard to tell. I'm convinced now that Crystal Palace are also going to go down, but only 3 teams can actually do that. Norwich, maybe, I don't know. I
was going to say, what made you not pick Norwich? Both of you.
Well, I think when it comes to teams being promoted, generally, I think at least 2 is going to go down. And my idea is that Norwich has kind of been there, done that, and hopefully will learn from their mistakes before and kind of stay up. Brentford, because it was such a struggle for them to come up, I don't know how they're going to do well staying up, especially with the analytics aspect of it. Although Tony's in my team, and Watford's just not going to. Watford's going to be the worst team come up, and I think simply just because of what we said.
Yeah, for me, Norwich, they were so good last year. They've come up and down a couple times in the last 10 years. It feels like eventually you stay up once, isn't it? Like West Brom was a yo-yo team, and then eventually one time you managed to stay up, and I feel like, well, it's Norwich's time to stay up. But
Brighton's one of those teams that hang around, and it's just like randomly. I think last year I picked Villa because they were hanging around and they end up being 11th.
Yeah, Brighton.
And I've just done the same thing with Brighton. They're battling relegation year in, year out. They've lost their talisman in Ben White.
Last year they went back in relegation.
It was everyone from 11th downwards was fucking relegation. There was like 4 points in it. Like,
and
let's be real.
A few years ago, they remind me a little bit like Bournemouth. Like they were playing good football. They had a good team, and it was like
all of a sudden
it just feels like you have a 5-year like span, isn't it? If you do well, but this is clearly pre-season pod because I was like, for me, it was hard to pick the top 4. Because I think there's a few in there, and there's obviously this Kane transfer that could twist it. Relegation was hard, so I'm like, is that our optimism that we're going to have a title race, a top 4 race, and a relegation battle, And then Liverpool and City are just going to win 5-0 on the first day. And we're like, oh, here we go again. Same as every other year, isn't it?
Let's do results real quick. For anyone that doesn't know, we pick teams each week to win and lose. You can only pick them twice each year, except for the top two. We can only pick one team. And last year, who was the top one? City and
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Correct.
Are we picking Liverpool again this year? Because none of us have got Liverpool in the top three.
No, we still got to. Those are rules. Those are rules.
Would it not be? No, it'd be City and United because they were 1 and 2.
That's
what I said. Who was second? You said it was Liverpool.
No, last year it was Liverpool. Oh, you mean in the league? I thought you meant in the game. Sorry.
No, in the league.
In the league, yeah, Man
United.
But yeah, we can only pick Man City and Man United once to win.
Fine.
So I'll go first with my result because I've got that ready to go. Although they're going to have a horrific season, generally Arsenal do quite well, and I just want to get them out of the way. Their first game of the season this Friday against Brentford away from home. We're absolutely going to get spanked, but I might as well be disappointed doubly. So they're going to beat Brentford away from home, and they're going to beat them. I'm going to say 3-1. How's that?
Yep.
Go on, Danny.
I am going to hopefully kick off another good season like I started. I think halfway through the season I'd already won, basically. I'm going to go for an away win, and I'm going to go for Aston Villa to beat Watford, and I'm also going to go for 3-1. Danny Ings to get on the score sheet.
Interesting. Mark, you're going to start this season like you did last season and just do stupid picks non-stop until you realise you're too far behind?
Well, we were neck and neck until a few weeks ago.
That's because my second half was bad. I started off well, and we kind of did a role reversal.
All right. Well, I'm actually just going to roll.
Was you going to say there's a few games this weekend?
I've got a few in mind, but because the reason is that what I'm going for is my one and only choice of Man City. So I'm going to go Man City to beat Tottenham on Sunday away, and I'm going to go. Let's go 2-1 to City.
Oh my!
Which bench will Kane be sat on?
None. He'll skip training a week.
Yeah.
Be at the bench at the golf club waiting for his turn.
Yeah.
Right. Front three, back four?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
No,
no, we actually haven't done our fantasy football team for All Talk FC.
We'll do that. We'll do that off camera. We've been at this too long. We'll just start it next week. Yeah.
Right.
Front three, back four. I'll go first. Front three, back four. Front three is staycations. In particular because coming up, there is going to be a KFC themed hotel which opens up in London. Or not in London, in the UK. Guests will be able to get free chicken delivered to their room by just pressing a nice button. And I'm assuming someone comes with hopefully a thigh, because I'm not really too keen on anything else. So if you just go on to, where is it, booking.com. From the 18th of August, it's not up permanently. It's only up for 11 days. You can book some nights. It's £111 per room per night with two people sharing, and the proceeds go to the KFC Foundation. So I don't know. One of you want to come with me? Obviously, I'm single now, so
Yeah. Well, last time you stayed in a hotel, you said you paid and got delivered to your room some nice leg, thigh, and breasts. Didn't you?
Yeah, I know.
I was waiting with that the whole time.
The thing I wasn't anticipating was the large gizzard.
Yeah.
That's the last time I go back to Singapore. In my back four this week is Curry. Curry's in my back four because Curry. You know Curry?
As in the basketball player?
No, as in the food stuff.
Oh, okay.
A South Asian food blogger calling on people to cancel the word curry because of British colonialism. People just use curry as a generic word to talk about loads of different Asian dishes when they all have their different names and they all should be deciphered in different categories. And because of British colonialism and apparently misuse of the word curry by white people, so that's your fault, not mine, they are asking for it to be banned. So yes, there you go. I'm just going to make an assumption and say that this food blogger probably also puts themselves under the banner of BAME, bringing all two races together. But that's just my assumption there.
I must admit, when I've been to like an Indian restaurant or a South Asian or any like cuisine that sells curry, the one that's just labeled curry is the worst one. So it's a good rule. You should ban standard house curries because
they usually have loads of different ones. So, they usually got Madras. How about they change the menus first? How about they change the menus first and we'll order whatever's on the menu? Because that's generally what I do.
There's usually one just called curry, and it's like, you never get that one.
Yeah, but imagine going to the restaurant and saying, "Can I have this?" And they're like, "Well, it's not on the menu." Well, what? Yeah. You're not calling this curry. You have to go by what the menu says, surely.
Exactly.
Except if you're in a Chinese restaurant, they'll make anything you want, apparently.
Or the fish and chip shop, because chip shop curry sauce is delish.
There you go. Yeah, it's great. Who wants to go next?
Okay.
Go on, Dan.
Go on, Dan.
So, I mean, there's been quite a lot that's happened in the last 2.5 months, or however it's been since we had our final pod of last season. So there was a whole bunch of stuff. There's stuff about England.
Why is he looking back so far?
Well, because I had a whole list. I was saving things up, and then they're all kind of out of date now, so it doesn't really matter. But the one thing that
what? Hold on, Danny. Can I make a suggestion? Save that list, and every week you have to do a front three, back four of this massive list that you've got. You can't do anything that's culturally relevant. You can only work through this list until you've run out, and then you can start doing front three, back fours.
Okay.
And you talk as if it's happened right now, and we won't argue.
So in my front three, it's Gareth Southgate. No. So
in my front three, in my back four is Hitler. No one.
Olympics, actually. So the Olympics obviously finished this weekend. We've got the Paralympics coming next week, which will be good. But there's the only time when I watch sport on TV and I watch something like the modern pentathlon, which involves like fencing and show jumping and all sorts, where I'm actually shouting at a TV for us to do.
I never knew what the pentathlon was.
But this is what I mean. The beauty of I just love the different sports in the Olympics. I love the fact that I was watching skateboarding and BMXing and modern pentathlon and like all sorts of bizarre sports and the karate that I didn't realize was even a sport.
I love judo. All of that
stuff. So it's just been an awesome 15, 16 days of sport, and I've really enjoyed it. And we did really well, which helped. So that's my front three. The Great British Olympic team. Well done to all of them.
Not that French runner.
In my back four is Italy, because I think they're trolling us. I genuinely believe
Jorginho.
Well, I believe we're being trolled by Italy because I'm personally being trolled by Italy. As you know, I was meant to get married in Italy last year. COVID happened, didn't happen. We were meant to go and win the Euros. We didn't win the Euros because Italy happened and they won the Euros instead on penalties. We were meant to win the 100-meter relay last week. We didn't because Italy beat us by 100ths of a second on the line when we should have won it. And you go back over the last 2 or 3 months of things that we should have won or things that should have happened in Italy are the reason we didn't. And now I'm supposed to be going to Italy in September and it looks like it's just been cancelled. I'm being trolled by Italy for sure. And so they are in my back four, Italians.
I know, 100 of a second. We should have shared the gold medal to be the thing these days.
Not high jump.
Well,
we should just get rid of medals, isn't it? And just
the Italian guy who won the 100-meter sprint.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, but that was the best time he's ever run. The year ago, he was running, I think, over 10 seconds on the 100-meter. He was a 200-meter specialist.
He looks so tanked. I saw him on the start.
He was a scrawny guy. Just saying.
The starting line, and I said,
just saying.
Pasta over there.
Yeah, a lot of pasta, a lot of meat.
That guy, I said the first thing I said when I saw them all lined up, I was like, that guy in the middle in the blue, that he is not 100-meter runner. No chance. That guy is tanked.
But that's how they used to look. That's how 100 meters used to be. They used to
and they were all on
60 meters try and win it. Yeah.
Can I just say, just brought up the Olympics. What are they trying to do with this Russian Olympic Committee? What I don't understand. It's just so stupid. Like,
Russia got banned for drugs.
Well, they didn't because they've even got Russia in the name. It's like what they got banned, but they didn't get banned.
Yeah, it's their way around it. It's the non-drug taking Russians.
Yeah, still did well. I don't believe that. There's no way I believe that.
Of course, they're all on drugs. I mean, it's Russia. They built the drug system.
Everyone in the Olympics is on steroids. Every single one of them.
Well,
Even that 13-year-old, sweet stayer, she is on it. They're all on it. Look at her. She was super jacked. Come on now.
She'll be winning Sports Personality of the Year this year, won't she?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, she's probably like the only one that isn't on it. But
no, just to warn you, you stole my front three, Danny.
Oh,
ooh, go for it.
Which was the Olympics.
Oh.
And because I went into it and we were like, we're going to watch it. I'm not that bothered. The times are all crap. And I went 1 week where I watched it every day. Like,
you really got to work, Mark.
You get into it and yeah, I should do, but luckily my employers don't listen this far into a pod. No, I'm joking, but no, like BBC iPlayer had good coverage, and you do, as you say, you watch these sports that you never watch. Some are just weird. Like I know you say you like judo, but the judo's a bit strange in the Olympics, and like
I just like judo,
stuff like the long jump, and then they're like, here comes the triple jump, and I'm like, this is just stupid. Why is he hop, skip, and jumping? Like the long jump, I get. It's like who can jump the furthest. The triple jump's like, oh, okay, let's get creative. Like, how can we? To be fair,
once in next Olympics they've got e-gaming, so no, it's all gone to shit now.
Yeah, and there's somewhere. I think it's because like they're like, oh, swimming and cyclists, they can win like 4 or 5 gold medals each. We should. How can we get like the athletics to also, which is the main thing of the Olympics? How can we get them to win more golds? All right, we'll just get them to jump in a different way, or like do something slightly different. So
you'd never get a long jumper doing triple jump and vice versa. They just don't. They're totally different.
They will soon, don't worry.
Because they ain't got the work ethic.
But yeah, I did enjoy it, and I also won tickets. If you bought a lottery ticket, you could enter into the draw for the homecoming. So on Sunday, I'm going to the GB homecoming concert, which is which has Anne Marie, Rag and Bone Man, and it was all free. So I was like, quality.
Oh.
So, why don't you let us know about that?
We'll share the wealth. What's that about?
If you bought a scratch card or a lottery ticket, you entered in the draw, and then
I get that, but you're telling us now instead of beforehand.
You had 2.5 weeks to tell us this.
Yeah, well, I got it this morning, so.
Yeah, well, we know, but you obviously applied 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't. Claire, my girlfriend, did. So she was like, I bought you a scratch card to try and enter this competition. Unfortunately, I didn't win anything on the scratch card. All right. What was my back for? I've closed it now. It's great listening. But the Olympics were great, weren't they?
It was actually nice seeing Tom Daley get his gold. I didn't realise he didn't have gold.
Yeah, he got bronze in his single one, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it seemed like we were doing really bad in the cycling for a bit, right? I kind of fell out of it the last few days, but.
Oh yeah, we smashed it in the end though.
Did it? All right.
Did you watch the Madison race? It's called on the cycling. It is
the one that's like 145.
Is it the one where they did a slingshot?
Yeah, the slingshot is quality. There's so many people on the track. The only thing that's funny of that though is, have you watched the race? I don't know which one it is, where there's the weird woman on the front in like a bike with a basket on the front, and she's wearing weird clothes. Have you seen that?
But is it the one where they just make like the first 4 laps? They're like, all right, we're just all going slow, and then the last 2 are like, all right, let's go. Like, why don't you just go for 2 fast laps? Yeah. I don't understand what that is. They don't do anything except for just slow down.
Pace. I think it's a pace set, so they're upping the pace each lap, so they're already at pace when they go. But yeah, it's very weird. It's the most bizarre thing I've watched.
They've got some of the weirdest races in that one in the velodrome. It's so bizarre.
Have you ever been to a velodrome? I would love to go and watch.
No.
Cycling.
I mean, they got the one in East London, but when do they do it regularly? I don't know. Yeah. Oh, Mark,
you're gonna have to skip it. I can't find it in my history, annoyingly.
What was it? What was
bring
it?
up the other stuff we just found in the history.
Remember what it was?
I don't remember at all.
Jesus Christ!
I had them up on my screen in the background, but it's not even in my history.
Right. Well, so this we eliminated the game, and this one was definitely not shorter than all of the rest of the pods we do. So well done for us. Right, go on.
Next week, I'll tell you all about Mourinho Bingo for this season. Which
we got a new game which Sunny's going to introduce, Mourinho Bingo. He's got a job again, so we definitely want to have some fun with that. We'll try some different things this season. Do you know what? It's nice to be back, I must admit, and hopefully this continues to go forward. we'll see how it goes up with the upload there. Right, we shall see you next week for the full slate of games, and hopefully we'll have a nice weekend of games to talk about that. Yep. Right, see you next week.
Bye.
All right, bye. Hopefully Mark will have a back before. Bye.
Vodafone.